Yeah, hi everyone. So in the previous, so let me share my screen here. Now what we'll do is, so let me open my notepad also. Okay. In the previous video, I have showed how to install the Microsoft SQL Server and how to install the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. So let's connect SQL Server. So Management Studio is used here. So this is called as SQL Server Management Studio. So in short, we call as SSMS, and this is used to connect your Microsoft SQL Server. So SQL Server and how do you to write the queries. So let's go and connect to that. Later we'll talk on SQL Server and we'll talk on T-SQL commands also. So let me connect to this server and using this SSMS. Let me open that here, SQL Server Management Studio. So go and search in your laptop or desktop with, because if you already installed, this should be there on your machine. So let me click on this SQL Server Management Studio. Let this get opened. Right. You can see the SQL Server Management Studio is getting opened here. So it would take some 1 2 minute. It would take nearly about 1 minute of time to get opened. So after this, what we do is we'll talk on the T-SQL commands. So what is SQL Server? So generally SQL Server is divided into two parts, Microsoft SQL Server. So the first, so Microsoft SQL Server is divided into two parts. So first part is called as T-SQL commands. Okay. And the second one is procedural query language. Sorry, procedural query language. So what do you mean by SQL here? So in the first part, we have SQL commands, right? What do you mean by SQL? So SQL is nothing but structured query language. Okay. Then T-SQL is called, what do you mean by T-SQL? So this is called as transact or transactional structured query language. Okay, we'll talk what comes. So generally, SQL Server is divided, entire SQL Microsoft SQL Server divided into two parts. That is T-SQL commands and procedural query language. So SQL starts for structured query and T-SQL stands for transact or transactional structured query language. Let's go. So what we'll do is my SSMS is already opened here, right? So I'll show you how to connect your management studio using this SQL Server Management Studio to your SQL Server. So once you have opened here, right? Generally you will get this. So you'll get this object explorer also on the left side. If at all you don't find, so assume like you don't find here object explorer, then how do you connect? So go to this view here. So you got object explorer, click on this. So you'll get object explorer here. So click on this connect here. So you have database engine, analysis service, integration service, reporting services, and Azure storage, Azure SS integration, right? Leave that. So so we want to connect to Microsoft SQL Server. So let's go to this database engine here. So you see the server type is database engine and here the server name. So we have already told you while installing the SQL server. So while installing, you'll give some server name, that is instance name to SQL server. So if at all you don't know that server name, so here it is getting populated by default for me because I've been connecting multiple times. So that name has got stored there. It is showing me. So if at all you don't have that server name or you don't know the server name, because you when you open the first name, you will not generally you don't have, or you may not be knowing the server name. So what you need to do is click on this more, click on this drop down. You will have here browse more, browse for more. Click on this. So here you'll have local servers here. Means the server that has got installed on your machine, it will show you. Click on this. So you'll find this server name. So this server will show you, these servers will show if you tell you're connecting from your local machine. If you're connecting, if you told the Microsoft SQL Server is already installed on your machine, then it will show you. So say okay. And here you have two types. So while installing SQL Server, we spoke about two types of authentication. So one is authentications here. So one we spoke about Windows authentication, right? And we have SQL authentication also, right? SQL authentication, SQL authentication. So when you say Windows authentication, right? When you say Windows authentication, so what happens here is you might have, so for Windows, you might have created username and password for your laptop or desktop, right? You generally have this for username and password, right? When you start a laptop or desktop, when you start, so when you want to log in, so you need to provide that user, then only it will allow you to log in and go and open some application. Otherwise, it doesn't allow. So you might have created that username and password. So that username and password has to be given here when you're going with Windows authentication. You see here Adya slash Srikant and it is password. It's not taking here password because the username password it will take the username password of my laptop or desktop. Okay, because I've connected from laptop, so it will take the username and password of my laptop, and here Adya is my machine name. So now after that is over, then you need to go to this encryption mandatory, and here you have a checkbox here, trust server certificate enable here, and click on OK, then it will get connected. So you'll able to connect. So you see here, you are connected with using the username password here. So you can see here. So I'll just maximize this window. Okay. So you can see this Adya slash SQL Server 2019 SQL Server some edition and Adya slash Srikant here, right? Right now. So that is Windows. Now, if you at all you want to connect with SQL Server, so SQL Server authentication. So, right. So for login, so for this login or username would be SA. So when we are installing SQL Server, we spoke about this. So login and username would be SA, but you might have given some password you might have given by you might have selected SQL Server because we went with the mixed authentication, means it should support Windows and SQL Server. So you have given password, that password you need to give. So just I have given some password for SQL. So I'll just go to this database engine. Now previously I was connecting with Windows authentication. Now I'll go with SQL Server. So you see, login has come SA. Now password. So you might have you not it's not might you should have given the password while installing SQL Server. So I'll give that password here. Okay. Now You need to take mandatory, and here you should have trust server certificate. Click on OK. Now you see here, I've connected using Windows authentication. See here. So here you can see the one selected which is in blue color. You see Adya slash equals to 2019, and you have SA here, nothing but SQL authentication. And here if you see the Adya slash Shrikant is the Windows authentication. So now we are able to connect to the SQL server in our machine using this management studio. This is absolutely right. If at all you have given the proper password and username, then this works connecting to your management studio. So now coming back to your, so we have seen how to connect and we have seen what is Windows authentication. As I told you previously, so Microsoft SQL Server is broadly divided into two parts here. One is called T-SQL commands that we call as transact or transactional structured query language here. Okay. And second part would be programming. So we'll talk as we go on. So when you say T-SQL commands, so these T-SQL commands, first part commands are broadly divided into 3 to 4 types. So let's go and talk on that. Sorry. Now let me open the T-SQL commands here. Hope you should able to see. So now if you see here, SQL commands, that is called structure. So this broadly divided into four. Here you can see on the right side, right? You can go and see on the right side. That is DDL, data definition language, DQL, data query language, DML, data manipulation language, DCL, data control language, TCL, transaction control language. And again, this detail, if you go to detail, what commands come here? So in detail, data definition, nothing but you are going to create some objects. So we have different types of objects called table, stored procedure, view, function, trigger. Whatever you create in SQL, it's called object. So in this DML, you see create, drop. Create is nothing but you're creating a new object. Drop is nothing but the object that you have created, that is table or a stored procedure function, you're dropping it, nothing but deleting it. Alter, you're making some changes to that object. And truncate, nothing but you're deleting, you're removing entire thing from that object. And you have rename, you're nothing but renaming, so you're changing the existing name of the object using this rename command. And when you go to DML, data manipulation, nothing but you are manipulating the data here. So that is how inserting data, updating data, deleting data, and calling data, that is calling and locking. And when you see transaction control language, so you are making some changes to the data you want to commit so that the data that changes would permanently applied on the database. So that is called commit, save point, rollback. Nothing but rollback is nothing but what are the changes you made, you want to revert. So that is called rollback. When you go to commit, it's nothing but permanently applying the changes. Set transaction, set constraint, DQL, data query language, nothing but you are select, you are retrieving the data from the table or you are retrieving the data from an object. And data control language, nothing but you are controlling, you are giving some permissions to the user, granting some permissions. And revoke is nothing but the permission that you have granted, you might need to revoke, nothing but you want to take back that what you say permission that you have given, you want to remove the you remove that permissions, so you use this revoke. So now you have seen this all right. So you have seen, so now you see generally on this. So first part of SQL would be on SQL commands only, that is most of the cases you create a table and you insert a data, you update a data, you delete a data, or you make changes to the table, right? So these all creating, dropping, alter, truncate, renaming, and here DML, inserting data, updating data, deleting data, and transact control language, which is committing, rollback, and here query. So you are selecting data from the table And data control, you're granting permissions to the users and revoking the permissions also. This is for first part of your SQL. So in the next video, what we'll do is we'll start creating an object, how to create an object in SQL Server. So before you create this object, right, we need to learn about data types, learn about what are the different data types that are present in SQL Server. We'll talk on that in the next video. First, we'll see how to create a object, and on top of that, we'll see the data types that are available in SQL. Okay, thank you guys. If you at all you have felt that this video was useful for you, please try to subscribe my channel and pass this information with other people so that they will be able to go through this and get some technical stuff from this video. Thank you.